Okay, so this is where we left off last week, and I'm looking to see what I want to do next. All right, I think what I'm going to do next is I have a bunch of little houses and stuff along the top of that ridge, and I'm going to take like a medium dark, let's see if this will work. Let me see if this will work. This is like a medium dark green, and I just want to suggest some, and these are just little marks. They're nothing real definite, and along that top ridge it's just bushes and stuff there. When you're doing something really you know, it's far away or far enough away that you can't see a lot of detail, don't try to make it. I mean, anybody that's been down there and probably figure out those are palm trees in the back. Let's see. There's some that are a little bit taller. I need a thinner. Now, if you have maybe this one. If you have a pastel pencils, you can use those. This is a similar color. It's just got a little sharper edge, I'm hoping. There are some areas where the stuff from the top kind of flows down into the gullies. Be very careful that when you put stuff like that on, that you don't create a pattern. I've seen some that end up looking like green teeth coming down. So, you know, some of it comes down lower than others. Some is right along the ridge. Some comes in from different. Those palm trees are just kind of a stick with a few little suggestions. Up here, like I was starting to say, things that are back here are just suggestions of whatever it is it's supposed to be. The brain will fill in a lot of information. Same with the houses. I'm not going to do a lot of stuff with the houses. Okay, I just when I kind of pause like this, I'm looking at my video or my reference material to see if I have what I hope to have, and I think I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to take, this is my indigo blue, and I'm just going to suggest rooftops back here. Let's see, there's a house that comes right in through there. you just need to put in the suggestion that there may be some buildings or something going on back here. You know, we're not doing house portraits or anything. We're just suggesting stuff back there. You know, it's nothing really important. Okay. I'm lightly blowing that so that I can kind of see what's going on. Now I think I'm going to take that same color that I was using, and there are some taller trees down here that can be they're a little closer, so you might see them a little bit better. They're in the this is Royal Palms down there in San Pedro. And I'm just putting it like a line and then doing some fuzzy stuff above it. Don't make them all the same size or shape. These are you know, different sizes depending on how old they are. Some of that I can pull out some things that look like fronds coming out the top of that green, because I think there are palm trees all the way down that. I'm just kind of breaking that green up now so that it's not so it was kind of static in my opinion there. Not that that means a lot, but come back in. Now this is kind of a similar color to what I did there, but I'm just gonna suggest, now if it's too bright, like that's a little bit too bright, just gonna, anyway, I've got this that's a little bit too bright. I'm just gonna take and tap it with my finger, because that just pulls off a little bit of the chalk. Now, rather than lining things up, you know, you can put them, you know, again, that's a little too bright. These are some trees that are further down the line. You know, don't line them up like a fence. You know, put some, you know, make some gaps in between them. Kind of make it like there's leaves or something coming over part of it. Let me find something to work on. Okay, here's what I'm doing is that that doesn't work. Let me find. No. Go over here. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a line and then maybe that, and then maybe one comes up and that's all that is. Maybe all you see is the top of another one. Maybe there's a couple of close together. So, you know, that's how you suggest that there are some tree trunks back there. When you line things up like this, it looks like a fence. So this is a no. You want it to look like tree trunks. Okay, let me look at this. That's probably about all I'm going to do for now. I may come in, actually what I may do is highlight some of this. Is that going to work? Oh, I think this is a little bit lighter. Let me just check that. Okay, this is kind of the same color but a little bit lighter version. What do they call this? This is gold ochre. So this is not like a bright yellow, but it is a little bit brighter than what I have. So I'm just kind of coming in and highlighting just the edges. Remember to you know, vary your stroke. Some of this pulls straight down, some of it kind of goes off to an angle. Put some of that brighter color in behind these trees. You know, at this point in time, it's going to be a lot of just little strokes. It's not going to be, you know, big, massive colors. We're kind of working in the detail, and I'm working my way down the hill here. So my next thing is going to be that little house, and that's close. You're going to want like a turquoise color if you have it. And I've got I think this is about the color I want. It's just a little mark. Anybody who's ever seen a lifeguard tower will know what this is. And that's about all I want, although take this is my indigo again, and right under where it should be the roof, I just put just a little mark there to suggest suggest a shadow. So with this I can come in and just kind of touch it with a blending tool, whether you have a color shaper or a stumpy. Just adding a little bit more of that turquoise in. And then there is a flagpole or something if you want to put it in. They don't have a flag flying on it. Take that same color that I was using, and just, this one's kind of straight up. There's a little pole right there, and there's your little thing. Now it shows up a lot because it's light and what's behind it is dark, so I'm using contrast to do that. Okay, so all I'm going to be doing is making some marks. I'm looking at all of these chalk marks that I've put in before, and in some places I'm going to put in some darks around them or behind them. Sun is coming in from the left-hand side, so you know, if I find something bright, I'm going to put a little mark behind it. Try again, be careful of lining things up. This is you know, just a pile of rocks, and so all of the movement is in here is just going to be kind of random. Rocks are a little bit bigger on the bottom down here than they are up above. That's probably how they do that, so they can put the asphalt on top of it. So big rocks on the bottom, little rocks at the top. But I'm just suggesting some of these. You know, a lot of times our brains take over and they go, well, it's a rock, we've got to put in everything. No, all we have to do is to just give enough information to let whoever's looking at this figure it out for themselves. And we're pretty good at that. We can look at cartoons in the paper and realize that those are people and animals and stuff. We can figure out that these are rocks. But all it is just big marks, little marks. Don't think about what it is. Think about shape and size and placement. That's enough to figure out as it is. I'm leaving some of that water go up in there. I'll do a little more of that too. A little bit of darkness back in here. This is kind of out in the water, and getting covered up, so some of that dark may not be seen. This is a dark rock in front of the other rocks. So, all right. So now I want to finish doing this. You know, I've been working my way down my painting so that, you know, if I smudge anything on the way, I can fix it. There is stuff on the you know, like rocks and seaweed and stuff. I may put in some of that. Let's see, what have I got here? No, that's not going to do it. And finding the right colors. I should have looked at this before. Let's see if this will work. Yeah, this will work. Okay, this is, I'm just, again, making some marks. And these can kind of have an angle down towards the water because these have been washed up on the shore. This is just debris, rocks and seaweed. I'm kind of connecting certain things, putting things by themselves. This is just kind of the start of this. I can make little mounds of stuff. I don't need to put everything that I see in. There are some things out here. But these are just like I did with everything else. These are just little marks. I'm not trying to do anything real detailed. Alright, so this is just kind of a gray-brown color that I'm using. Now I'm going to take my, if I can find it, is this the color I want? Oh, I want the lighter version. I have this little separate box for all of the colors, and then I think I got more colors in that little separate box. So this is again another color that I've used up in the sky, which is this light blue violet, and that's actually a good thing. I'm going to just kind of lightly go in between some of these. A lot of this will not get blended. Now I don't know if you can see that, but there is some of the color from underneath showing through. That's what I want. This is kind of where the water is just starting to go into the sand. So it's kind of going down into You know, it's sloping a little bit because this is washed up. But I'm just lightly skimming over the surface here, just to get that feeling of water that is just about ready to go into the darker sand. And kind of a little sheen right there on the... Maybe that where I can find it. Now I want to get this is a kind of a light violet color that I want to use to create the underpainting for the little bit of foam that's here. When you're doing white, you know, something is going to be a light color, you need to underpaint it with something like this light purple or lavender or light blue. That becomes the shadows in there. All the way off. That I might blend just a little bit right at the bottom, because that's where it's going into the water, so it's not quite as defined going into the water. Then I'm going to take, this is kind of a cream color. I think that's what I use. Yeah, that's what I use back there. It's, I don't know, it's some soft ochre is what they call it. But now I'm just going to kind of come in and hit and miss on some of these, the top of that color I just put on. Put my glasses on so I can see. So again, I'm not just trying to outline that. I'm using like little short choppy strokes. Some of them are thicker, some of them are almost non-existent. But that's the way the foam looks. It has highs and lows. That's the part where most people kind of don't see. You know, they think it's just a smooth line, but if you look at it, it's not a smooth line. You know, it's choppy, it foams up. You know, maybe it hits a rock underneath, so it kind of bulges up, or you know, it's in deeper water, so it's a little thinner. All of the things underneath the water affect that foam. So now I'm going to take my, there it is. Okay, this is that indigo color that I had. And right underneath, there's always going to be a little bit of a shadow. Again, I'm just going to make little marks. So heard one demonstrator mention that she calls this dashes and dots, because it's not solid. Yeah, just suggestions, that's all it is, because the foam will come in front of other places, and this I will blend a little bit. But everything that's got some kind of mass is going to have a shadow. There's a little, I put that, it's in the picture, there's like a little well up where it's hit something underneath and kind of coming up a little bit. Being observant to what it is that you're painting, you know, when you're out there, you know, look at things. Take reference photos. I'm just going to come back in. Now I didn't do that side because that's away from me. I can't see that. But this part is definitely where I can see it. So I'm just softening it down into the water. That gives it just a little bit of lift. Maybe an inch or two high if you were there. And blend it almost to where it disappears. And I occasionally look up at my monitor, because that's almost like putting it across the room and looking at it. You can always come back in, add color or change the color. Pastel's pretty forgiving. You know, I would say it's like second on my list of forgiving mediums. Let's move this over. Acrylic being number one because you can just paint right over it, but with pastel you can dust it off and try again, or just add some more color to it. That got a little bit dark, so I'm just going to add some lighter blue. I don't want anything that's going to drag my eye off of the page, so I want to soften that just a bit. Now right around those clumps of stuff that I put in, there's some foam that is around it too. So this is a light blue. Let me see if that's going to work. And this you're going to be kind of scribbling. You know, there's some foam that's up on the shoreline, and this is where, you know, if you've had coffee or something, it works better. And that's kind of angles down because it's right on the sand, so the sand's kind of going down. The foam will be following it. You'll see a little denser around some of the clumps of things that you've put in. Now this foam is kind of let me get my head out of the way. It's not as light as that color that I did the top of the foam. And that's okay, because this foam here is kind of fallen apart. It's not as intact as, you know, the foam that's kind of new and coming into the land. All the bubbles are starting to pop here. Well, there's always just little bits of stuff that's just left right at the surface that just suggests little ripples of foam, or little ripples of water going back down in. But you want to follow the direction of this flowing back down into the water. Just going to lightly kind of smush that in, so it kind of falling apart a little bit back in here, right behind some of these waves. I'm trying to keep it kind of flat. Like I said, I don't do a lot of blending at this stage. Just looking to see what I can do here. Now I need to make some of those spots that I put on a little darker. So I'm going to get a little bit darker brown. Just kind of like hit the tops. This is a dark brown. Just to emphasize them just a little bit more. Some up in the drier sand. Going to take, let's see, is that going to be the color I want? Yeah, I've used this color before. That's that gold ochre. And just on some of these that are up in the sand, I'm just making, let me get this here, I'm just making like little U shapes. That'll kind of make it look like the sand's kind of piled up around parts of this, and that the sand's a little bit drier. Kind of tap it a little bit. Well, I don't want to get too busy out in the corners, because I don't want to lead the eye off of the painting. Kind of tapping and blending in. where I can throw some of that in, back in here. Repeating colors. Gives a little bit of harmony to your painting. I'm just still using that same color. I'm not sure, I'm not done yet. Let's see, let me find this soft. Come in, maybe put a little bit of shadows in some of these little swells. I'll begin with the little U shapes and then soften these in. I gotta be careful, I think I'm starting to fiddle with this now. And it's so easy to do because you get going on something and you feel like you're really in you know, a mode there, and you're doing so well, and then it's like, I can't be done. You know, surely there has to be something I can do. But other than just a few little things, let's see, just, it's not light enough. Back to this. You know, I'm pulling some of the water up against these rocks as they come in. Again, I'm just making little U shapes and then little flat strokes going in between some of these. But ladies, I think I'm done. If I do too much more, I'm going to really be mad at myself.